All right, Ian.
Yeah.
We have an update. A New Year's, after the New Year, we have an update on the to-be proposed Intellivision Amico game console that we've been talking about now for 3 years almost. 2.5 years we've been talking about this, just about, after it was announced.
Long time.
Little over, yeah, almost, it'll be 3 years, I think, this fall. So a video was put out by CEO of Intellivision Entertainment, Tommy Tallarico, looking at a unit that was cold booted up, powered on, and got to a menu, clicked on the menu, and they played Astro Smash for about 5 to 10 minutes here.
Hooray!
So that's good news. It's good news. It's what we originally asked for back in June, but hey, 7 months later, 6 months later isn't bad to show that you have an actual console, in theory, working from power up to menu to launching a game.
It can boot.
It definitely was not there at August, because if they had it in August, they would have showed it. So my takeaway from this video is this, is that there's no way in hell this is coming out in April. And
I don't know why he won't just announce. I mean, he recently said, I think it was
20% chance.
20% chance now that it's coming out in April.
If Tommy Tallarico says it's a 20% chance, it's a negative chance it comes out.
Went from 50-50, by the way, just like 2 weeks ago. Like, what changed in those 2 weeks that dropped it another 30%? There's
a negative chance this is going to come out in April. I give this, I think, a 30% chance back in August on the original. I said 30% that this would come out in April, because we had shown that there was no evidence that the console was ready to that point, that it would be ready. And we went over job listings of very important positions that were not filled yet, that were out there, that were claimed that they were for peripherals and accessories. No, they're for the console. And we just know that there's so much lead up time. There's so much that has to be done with certification, with finalizing testing. There's going to be back and forth with things being off in terms of manufacturing, or maybe the RF shielding isn't good. There's so many things that goes wrong with manufacturing. You have to have things finalized probably a good 6 months out at least before your launch date in order to get this to market. Like, you have to have this all buttoned up. So the good news, if you're waiting for this console though, is that it's closer to coming out.
Yes.
The bad news is that it's not in any shape, I think, to come out still.
Sure. I mean, it doesn't. My whole thing is it's certainly closer to coming out. I never had. I felt like it was always going to come out. My question is still, what are we playing on it? So you see the cold boot, you see the system load up, and then you see Astro Smash get played, and you wonder, why are we getting? I mean, still, where's the excitement supposed to be generated?
It's like the VCS. It's like, yeah, we're getting this at some point, maybe, but then what are we going to do once we actually have this thing?
Right. I mean, that's not a victory.
No, especially when you have
the goal of releasing a new system is not to launch it. It's to create a successful product that will be enjoyed for years to come,
and an ecosystem of support.
Yes,
and people actually enjoying the history of video game consoles is not a litany of successes. It's a litany of failures with very few successes.
Right.
There are a lot more failed consoles than successful ones if you actually look into it, like the numbers. So I don't think it's even 50-50 when you look at all the fail. And these were run by big companies, as I get a weird call. So the point is this, is that I'm happy for the people that pre-order this, that they are one step closer to hopefully getting a product that they put their money in for.
Holding something in their hands, yeah.
That Intellivision is using as basically a free loan at this point in order to keep their business alive. And so also, not just that, use that as evidence that there's interest to get several $1 million of investors on board. So that they've gotten that done brilliantly. They built up the house of cards to that point. But now the last 10% is the most difficult when it comes to this. You have to make the product viable and actually launch it and have it be sewed up. And have a launch library that people will give a damn about. We have no evidence that the launch library of games is completed, or that even the pack-in ones are completed at this point. We have no idea where the status is on the software, or of the games that they showed off these brilliant licenses to, like Major League Baseball and things like that. Like, are these being worked on? will they be worked on? There's no update in Earthworm Jim, and that's the only thing that got any buzz at all was Earthworm Jim.
I think that's really where the worry should be now is the games, the completion level of these games.
Sure. Are they started? Is there funding for these games? And the reason I wouldn't normally
only
ask,
a couple of them have been shown in any real have been shown being played for any real length of time.
Sure.
Astro Smash,
Missile Command a little bit,
Missile Command,
the Car Crashers game,
Car Crashers game, and
Skiing was shown a little bit,
Breakout,
and Breakout.
Yeah.
Sure. And these are not questions that you would probably ask if this was like Sony. Or if this was Nintendo, like, well, are these games going to be funded? Because those are companies that you don't have to worry about that. They're going to put out product. We are still in the startup phase as a company looking to put out a product. And now we have money at risk. Again, if this was just Tommy and friends putting up money, I wouldn't give a shit at this point. Go ahead, try and fail if you want. Now you're using other people's money to do this, and that's where the problem is. Especially pre-order money, where now people are delayed a second time, and there might be potentially a third.
I want to bring up something about pre-order money too, real quick.
Okay.
Someone sent me, and I maybe you've already seen this. Maybe this isn't that new, but they sent me the Fig Co. I think it's the advertisement.
Now it's Republic as well. So now the campaign's on republic.co.
So basically, much has changed in gaming since Intellivision began, with games becoming more isolated, blah, 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 blah. Using technology, creativity, and unrivaled passion, the Amico team is on a mission to bring family and friends together again. The Intellivision team comprises of some of the brightest and most experienced veterans in the gaming industry, with over 600 years combined experience. Really fucking pulling for a number there. Like 600 years combined experience, including veteran team members who have been with Intellivision since 1981. Who? That's my question. But here we go. This powerhouse team will truly deliver. With over 25 million in pre-orders, Amico is already taking the gaming world by storm. Where does the 25 million in pre-orders
Well,
number
see, they're
come
conflating pre-orders and purchase orders together.
Yes, I think
which
that's
is not the same. Again, not the same thing.
No, and that's what I wanted to bring up, because I figured you'd probably have the answer to that. You're paying a bit more attention to it than I am. A purchase order is not a pre-order. That shows a store being like, okay, we have enough faith, I guess, in this to order this many. That is not people actively putting down money.
No.
That's not interest.
No,
Precisely.
that's hope that there's interest to sell the product. See, that's just more, investment talk to lure people on the hook.
Yeah.
To me, that's not as bad as photoshopping in your game controllers over, PS4 controllers on image in your campaign, which to me could be seen by potentially as fraudulent by some investors if they don't know that. I'm not saying it is or not, but hey, I'm not investing in it. But do the investors know that they're not holding Amico controllers in these pictures? That these are pictures that you can just get the license to and then just photoshopping controllers? But it goes along the same line of thinking. We have to keep people on the hook.
Right.
We have to make sure that we know that Tommy, for example, Tommy in the video says it's 98% completed. The console that's his number you just pull out somewhere. It's 98%. Okay, what does that mean? What part is 90%? The design, all the servers and back infrastructure we need to have this up and running once the system launches. What does that mean? The 98%. That can mean anything. Tommy said something in the video that was very telling. At 153 in, while the system was taking an ungodly amount of time to boot up, by the way, which we'll get into, he said, we've had this up and running now easily for over a year. I'm calling Bravo Sierra on that, because if that was running before this, he would have posted this to shut me and Ian up 6 months ago, or after we said it wasn't being shown booting up cold in the August
Or
video.
just about anyone. I don't think he's even...
He never holds back on stuff like this. Never.
No, he doesn't. And I also don't feel like it's us that he really needs to worry about shutting up at this point. He had plenty of people asking since October for a video of him booting it up, and he kept saying it was like technical difficulties. He was supposed to do like a live stream or something of a game.
Oh, it's supposed to do like a live stream at booting up and playing or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off.
Well, he put off the UI video. Maybe that's the same thing.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he put off the UI video.
I just assumed there would have been a cold boot at some point in the UI video.
Well, because if you want to show a console booting up, I think that's pretty important.
Yes.
That shows that all the development of the board is done, and not just that, you have all the firmware attached to your board, which gets into the next point. This thing took 60 seconds from power up to the engineer being able to access the menu with the controller and move around and load a game. It took 60 seconds of Tommy talking while the running man was going, and then they showed the menu. It's 60 seconds. You can time it from power up to when you can, or the console or software that's running accepts an input. No console in this day and age should take that long to boot up, especially one that's basically like an Android phone. That's like an Android phone booting up. That'd be like my iPhone taking 60 seconds to boot up.
And let's talk about the inputs themselves.
We can get to that in a second. But real quick, before we get to the inputs themselves, someone above my pay grade tells me about some of his opinion on what he's been seeing with some of these things and the boot up speeds and things like that and what this can mean. So, someone that has worked with hardware who watched the video. And these are his comments to me here. And I'll leave out the ones that are overly, teasing Tommy here. They are in here. I guess that's our new office. Looks pretty open. Yeah, there's a huge open space in this office. I don't understand this space, but okay, whatever. Those controllers are fucking massively thick. What the hell? Did they gain weight? They are chunky, the controllers. We've said that.
They're very big.
23 seconds. This is from Power Up. He timed this. 23 seconds for the man to run, 35 for the animated logo, 45 seconds for the second logo, and almost exactly 60 seconds before you can interact with the menu. Holy shit, that's a long time, and I used a stopwatch. This is him saying that. They finally have the thing booting through without any suspicious cuts to the video. This is the first time I've seen the controller actually do something other than the test debug screen showing up when being pressed. Then he talks about Astro Smash. There's so many explosions and shit on Astro Smash, it looks like it'd be a pain in the ass to play after a while. That's what I always said. There's too many. It's too busy. Like that in Missile Command. Trying to determine if the pieces of flaming debris is just for show or if it's actually dangerous still. That's a good idea. Here you go. Then he examined the controller. And I mean, he examined the controller. He downloaded the video and actually timed out the frames on the video, a 60 frames per second video. He actually got into this. 60 frames per second video, it takes around 8 frames for the ship to start moving when Tommy presses the disc. That's 133 milliseconds of lag. Good luck playing Earthworm Jim or any other platform game. Gonna feel kinda drunk with that much lag. Also, the LCD doesn't really even show you anything except life count. There's only one score and one ship count on the TV. So that's alarming. Over 1/10 of a second of lag on a modern console is not good for 80 to 90% of game types. It just isn't. So then I ask, why could the lag be that? Is that not optimizing the signal? Too much interference? Maybe the game's not in game mode. TV's not in game mode, which would be insane for a CEO of a company to show off your product, not realizing that. But let's just
probably put it in game. Yeah.
But either way, you're not going to eliminate a full 1/10 of a second in game mode. That's insane over 1/10 of a second to do that. So what is happening here? Is this not optimized code? Is this just delay or signal interference? If this is 98% final, that's going to be unplayable for an arcade game like Astro Smash. Let alone you can't play Super Mario Brothers with 1/10 of a second of lag. Let alone over 1/10 of a second for a twitchy game like that. That's problem. That's a problem. That's a real problem. He said the UI is probably barely a working shell at this point. I don't fault Tommy for this. He was probably given explicit instructions. Don't do this. It's totally broken. This isn't implemented. Only do this exact sequence. So basically, don't fuck around with it. Just run the one game and that's it.
Yeah, that was my guess.
He said it's pretty typical for a demo like this. It's just that It should have been at this point literally 6 to 9 months ago or more. This is someone who's an expert in this field and knows about this stuff. They are 6 to 9 months behind schedule, according to this person. 6 to 9 months. So then I asked, why did it take so long to boot? I said, my iPhone 7 boots in 15 seconds. Modern cell phones, a modern cell phone, if you buy like an iPhone like X or whatever the hell 11, it's likely more powerful than this. Not comparing the Snapdragons,
sure.
But they use the more up-to-date Snapdragons. This does not here. He said it's booting Linux on a slowish SoC, system on a chip. It can be doing other things like looking for controllers, I guess, but it is running on solid-state media. It's supposed to anyways, so you'd think speed wouldn't be such an issue. Then he postulates something that's more troublesome. That could be, I guess it could be booting off an SD card. SD card boot would be pretty slow, which would make sense when you boot things, even go back to, EverDrive or things of that nature back in the day. If you had one with certain types of media, it would take several seconds to boot up, even like a ROM,
sure,
depending on his. So if it's booting off a card, what does that tell you then? It tells you that the board ain't done.
Right.
You're running it off an emulator, basically, an Android environment off an emulator, and that's not good. Then you're even further behind if that's the case. Either way, it's not good for your system to take basically an Android system taking a minute to boot up. That's insane to boot up.
Yeah, it's a long launch sequence.
So what I did when I saw this, what do you think I did? I was like, well, maybe they never filled those important job positions at the time, and they hadn't at the time, because when I looked them up, they're back here. Oh, it says an active job. These were posted in mid-December. The same jobs we talked about in June that we got attacked for. The senior game console firmware developer
definitely sounds like something that you need for accessories.
Yes, definitely for accessories. So that was reposted right before Christmas, around December 20th, 17 days ago. And also the embedded Android software developer. These were two jobs that we pointed out back in June were being looked for and were still being searched for right before Christmas. And you usually don't do a lot of hiring right before Christmas in the new year.
No.
So what is happening here? What is happening?
I don't know. I mean, now they're saying that they're looking for, a June, July release?
I think Tommy said June or July as a target. By the way, the first line again, and this is what we focused on back in June, for the embedded Android software developer, you will take on a senior software development position, working with our hardware and firmware teams on a new video game console, not accessories that was claimed, on a new video game console to develop system-level Android software to make the system run.
Yeah.
To make the system run.
And after having this pointed out so many times, if that was inaccurate, I'm sure they would have changed it. But they haven't changed it. Why? Because that's actually what they need.
That's the job position they need. They need someone to help make the system run. This is a job opening that's been since the summer, and it's still there. It's still there. And again, the firmware developer is required to design simple PCBs, evaluate ICs, write drivers for them.
PCBs?
PCBs. Beebs? I say beebs? PCB? Boobs?
PCBs.
Boobs. So you should be a professional embedded engineer with experience in electrical design or microcontroller or microprocessor systems. Yeah, this is important. This is important positions.
Right.
So now we're being a dead horse, but hey, 20% chance in April. You know what? I'll bet. Does anyone want to put up? Was that 4-1 odds? I'll take the odds 4-1. I'll put up money against someone's money 4-1.
That it's out April release.
For an April release to all the backers. It's in their hands. Functional console to all the backers in April. 4-1 odds. I'll take any bet, and I'm dead serious. I'll give you 4-1 odds on it. So that's like $200 versus $800. Basically, that's basically what 4-1 odds is right there. I'll do it. Why not? Why not? I got that predicted money laying around. I can do that. Anyway, so we have controller input delay, a system that we're not sure where it's at, that we're still looking for key positions, taking a minute to boot up. and we're 20% chance going to launch in April. When do you think? What does your gut tell you on this? Do you have a gut instinct on when this is going to launch, Ian?
And
by the way, you can't try to pin us as saying that we said this is never going to come out, because we never said that.
Oh, I never said that. I mean, even all the way back to like the first little bits of coverage that we had, I actually said that I think this will come out.
Yeah.
Literally said it. I don't know, October, December.
You want to say October, December?
Yeah, November.
You want to say 30% chance?
I think it's just going to end up. Yeah, I think it's just going to be
it's going to drag itself to the finish line.
Year. Yeah, I think somewhere in October.
All right, I'll say.
I think summer is. I think summer is wishful.
Well, remember, it's like a 3.5 month lead time for production to get it in people's hands at least. So that means for this to be in people's hands in July, we'll give the benefit of that. We'll say July. They got to be in production by probably March, the very, very latest. Because February is Chinese New Year. There's 2 weeks that are just no one does anything. So March is. We told you back in August that, or a few months ago, that January would be the time for us to tell you that it has to be in production by January to be in people's hands in April. We'll come back to you in March, and we'll let you know, is this in production likely or not for July. So, okay. I'll say we're now at 0% chance for April, down from 30%. And then I'm going to say for July, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say 10% chance for July.
All right.
And then for the rest of the year, I'll say 38% that it comes out in 2021. I'll give you better odds. 38%.
I think we got a 50-50.
You got 50-50?
Got a 50-50.
You want to put money on it?
No.
Okay.
But I have,
between me and you,
I have 50. No, but I have 50-50 by the end of the year.
50-50. That's not bad. That's a coin flip. That's not bad. We're not totally haters. 50-50 that's not a terrible odds.
No, it's not.
That's like playing 1, 2, 3 shoot and odds and evens, right? Anything else to add here? Or are we done with this?
No, we're done.
Okay. And by the way, I'll just say this real quick. We're going to get Tommy's defenders going to come after us for just basically telling the truth about this and the fact that there's delay on the controller and the fact that they're still looking for key positions and the fact that they Photoshop controllers. They Photoshop their system controllers over PS4 controllers for their investment campaign. And these are things that they will never bring up or question Tommy about. Like, why? Like, you think that's ethical, Tommy, to use Photoshop images to try to raise money? Do you think that's ethical? I think it's right to do that. But anyway, they're going to come after us. But hey, have fun getting those views for a couple days, fellas. Have fun in your little nostalgia cult.